Hey guys, Andrew here with Andrew's Field Gear, and today we're going to be going over webbing. So webbing is pretty much how a soldier carries all of his combat gear. It will include things like water with these canteens right there, ammunition with all these ammo pouches on the belts and down there as well. It will include things like, gun-related things like bipods there on the center of the belt, and first aid kits like this right here. So even e-tools sometimes. That's a bad idea, but you can do it. So first off, let's go over the oldest type of pistol belt used in Vietnam. 36 belts, primarily used by advisors. I'm sure the Marines used them at least a little bit, but they're not common at all. They have 0 snaps, or they have 1 snap rather, right there at the very end of it for an M1911 magazine pouch, which I have right over there. Along it, it can accept M1910 hooks, like that of a jungle first aid kit, or M1910 canteen, or an M8A1 bayonet scabbard. And it also is, it's webbing, so it can accept slide keepers, but it wasn't really designed with those in mind. On this 1967 piece right here, 1967 ammunition pouch, slide keepers slides on over the canvas of the belts. Clip them down, and you can put stuff on there. So, next up would be the 1956 belt. This was used commonly by Army guys early in the war, and Marines towards the middle and later years of the war, like 1967 is really when you see them starting to pop up en masse. And the Marine Corps, so they have different buckles from the 1936 belts. So here's the female end right there. Here's the female end on the 36 belt. There's the male end. It uses a little dot kind of right there. And male end here, it's square on a 36 belt and not square on a 56 belt. So that's a big difference. Along with the adjusting areas, you can't really adjust a 56 or a 36 belt as much as you can a 56 because there's only one side you can adjust it from. You can adjust the 36 belt from one side and a 56 from both sides. So here you can see we've got 2 or 1, and there's 2 on either side. That also means you can only replace the buckles on one side of the 36 belt, but really that's not that big of a deal. You shouldn't really be breaking those anyway. So next up, we'll go over the stuff that's not on my web gear attached to it already. So here's some 1967 gear. It's nylon, was designed to replace the 1956 gear. And it's it's nylon. It's designed for 20-round magazines. The canteen covers are also nylon, so it's pretty neat. It's got a bunch of little straps on it. This one in particular is in pretty good condition, but I've got another one which is missing the entire top fastener, which is kind of odd. I want to know how that happened, but it did. It's got a little bit of fraying right there on the grenade tab, so it had the same system for connecting or for attaching grenades as the 56 did, just in nylon. Different fasteners, obviously. These are made out of plastic instead of being the pull tabs that 56 has. Here, you got the hooks for attaching to the suspenders, to 1967 or 1956 suspenders. A lot of guys would just cut these off, so if you have gear yourself that doesn't have these cut off, please don't modify your original gear. It's not very difficult. Don't cut the pockets off of your 1955 flak jacket to make it a first pattern, that kind of thing. Just don't do idiot things with your stuff, all right? Because that's how you make it worthless, how you ruin it. So next up, M1916, I think, holster. These were dyed black leather after World War II. I'm not sure if that was after Korea, before Korea. I really have no idea when that happened, but in Vietnam, they only use black ones. This in particular is I think it's a 1928, can't remember, M1928 magazine pouch. So it doesn't have those little, I don't know, it's kind of weird how the originals were made to fit the 1911 magazines. They had these little, kind of folds at the bottom. Not sure what you would call them. These are just regular pleated canvas for the pockets. And on the inside, it has a snap to go onto a M1936 belts. I can't really demonstrate that because I'm using my other hand to hold the camera, but, you know, there's a snap right there on the inside. You can kind of see it. I bet I can get it better from the other side. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, alright. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Well, it's brass, and it's the male end connects to the female end, which is on one end of a 1936 belt. No ends of a 1956 belt. There's no way to attach that to a 56 belt aside from just slipping it over. And it's all over, snaps like that are all over 1961 belts, which I have up there with all my stuff on it. Next up would be the 1961 system. This included the butt pack. These weren't really used that often, especially towards the mid and late war periods, but they were used a little bit. It has eyelets all over it for hanging a bayonet or a canteen or whatever, like 1910 hooks. So here it's got some little pockets that you can put slide keepers through, or just put your bayonet through. You know, you got your bayonet attached up here, and then it's kind of weaved on through that little bit right there. Up here I've got just my, I guess I should cover that up, but my name and, you know, rank for a possible army impression later on. Around back we've got, you know, a big tear right there, but that's alright. We've got a slide keepers, and on the inside of this is a rubberized neck to keep stuff dry. 1956 butt packs did not have that. They were also a lot smaller, and I think they had fewer eyelets as well, but I'm not certain about that, so, you know. They're basically small day packs, so pretty good. Pretty useful, but not really used that often. So, 1956 ammo pouch is right here. Uses pull tabs. I think both of mine are third patterns because they don't have stiffeners or anything, so you can just move that willy-nilly. This one in particular has its stamp pretty much entirely intact. It's practically new old stock, but, you know, not quite. So, that US marking is pretty faded. So, over here is another one. Grenades would be attached using these little pockets right here. Just slip the spoon of the grenade down under that and attach this little snap right here. Put it around the fuse and snap it back on with this snap right there. So now you might wonder, Andrew, why do you have a combination of 56 and 61 gear? And that's a good question. There's a particular photo that I like of a guy using that, and he had a very weird web setup. You know, only had one canteen, had an Xm3 Bipod. You know, Jungle First Aid Kit attached to the 61 pouch, which isn't as uncommon as I used to think. It's not too terribly rare. Like the M8A1 bayonets would be attached to these as well. I haven't seen any of canteens attached, but it probably happened at least once. You know, a lot of things happened in Vietnam, so who knows. I have 1941 suspenders on this. I have some 1956 suspenders as well, but I couldn't really find them before the video, so I don't really have them out here. But that's alright. Over here, I've got a 1956 canteen cover. This one is a second pattern, or a third pattern. I'm not really sure what the difference between second and third is. But it's got the nylon trim instead of canvas. This one's the first pattern. Has canvas trim. So they've got snap fasteners instead of lift the dot like the 1910. 1910 is lift the dot, obviously. You know, this one has snaps. So that's the difference. Also introduced in the Vietnam War was the plastic canteen. These saw a lot of use in both the Army and the Marines, and they pretty much replaced the aluminum canteens in the Army. The Marine Corps seemed to use aluminum canteens throughout the war, but, you know, obviously less than the Army did. Or, sorry, obviously more than the Army did. Army didn't use them very much at all. So, other Marine gear, Marine-specific gear, would be the belt itself. This one has, you know, it's a 1961 belt, which is a depot-modified 1936 belt. Sorry. And the way it was modified, it had snaps all over it, just attached on, for the 1961 ammo pouches. So you look in here, there's kind of this pocket, right? Down there. Yeah, there. And you can kind of see the mail into that snap. There's two of them, one there and one on top. And it was really up to personal preference which one you would attach it to. But I personally prefer having it on the top one. I feel like that makes it balance better. You could fit one M14 magazine in here, or two M16 magazines, or if you're like me and you don't have the money for all those M16 magazines, just a bunch of wood blocks. So, you know, I think I've already been over this, but most of my webbing is just filled with wood blocks, and that's why it doesn't look empty, because I'm just too lazy to buy M16 mags, and I probably won't have the money to buy those WeTech gas blowback mags, which is alright. Yeah, they're expensive anyway. Next up, entrenching tools, next up is the Xm3 Bipod Case. So this is the third pattern. First pattern didn't really have a top at all, and it was made out of nylon. Second pattern did have a top that would snap over the bipod itself, the bipod legs. And the third pattern was canvas, oddly enough, and had materials for a cleaning kit, or pouches for a cleaning kit. So in here I've got like my brush and whatnot. You know, let's see if I can get this open. That's futile. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, that's probably enough. You can see in there I've got like pipe cleaners and a toothbrush, or not a toothbrush, a cleaning kit brush. Very stiff bristles designed to clean off, you know, dirt and whatnot from the M16. And here I've got a bore cleaner. You would attach, you know, there's a bunch of these little pipes, or not really pipes, but little rods that all screw together, like 6 of them I think, and they can fit down the barrel of a 20-inch barrel M16. These same cleaning kits are still issued today with the M4 carbine. So now I should have a little bit of bore cleaner, I think it's called, but I don't. It wasn't really in the cleaning kit when I got it, so I'm not too worried about it. Cleaning kit that I got is over there, so yeah. Jungle First Aid Kit. This one in particular is dated 1944, so that's neat, right there. Inside it I've just got a paperclip carrier, right there. You know, these were used in Vietnam throughout the war, yeah, of course. Inside it, I've got D-cell batteries as well, which were also used to stuff Jungle First Aid Kits so that your commanding officer wouldn't realize that you didn't have any first aid equipment. So, you know, in case you can't tell, I'm just being a smartass. So, all you would do is, that's what I do, you know, because I didn't bother to get the contents as well. Can't find one for cheap, so I just fill it with D-cell batteries and paperclip holder. Makes it look full. So, next up is these e-tools and e-tool covers. I only have one e-tool, unfortunately, and it's a 43. M1943 entrenching tool. So these things fold, unlike the M1910 shovel, which did not fold and was a T-handle shovel, so it had a T down at the bottom right there. And this one in particular is dated to like 1945, I think. Yeah, 45. Yeah. So, kind of cool. You just unscrew this right here, and then you would flip the shovel itself out and screw it back down to lock it in place. And then inside, you put it inside a e-tool carrier. Army guys used 1956 carriers, which is what this is. It included this right here for a bayonet, and you would thread the bayonet on in through here. So that's kind of cool. Marines, or at least in the 1967, which is what my impression is for, would use this, called an M1943 e-tool carrier. And inside it, just put your e-tool in there. Uses a lifted out fastener. This particular one is dated to 1944. Kind of cool. Oh, right. So how this was attached to the belt, or the pack, or whatever. M1910 hooks. So, that's cool. And then the 56, the Army got rid of 1910 hooks pretty much immediately. Because they keep gear on there, but they're really tough to use and get off and get on and all that stuff. They used slide carriers. So, or slide keepers, sorry. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for my web gear. And just a brief explanation of all the stuff that they used. Or a large portion of the stuff that they used. This isn't all of it, obviously. So, yeah. I'll come back with another video on how this actually works, how it feels to wear with or without a flak jacket, with or without a ruck, all that stuff. So anyway, I'll see you then. This has been Andrew with Andrew's Field Gear, and I will see you guys later. Bye.